My next guest says that in order to deepen your relationships, you have to have a strong character to support them. Studio 5 relationship contributor Dr. Matt Townsend believes that understanding our depth of character and deepening it will help us maneuver the more complicated barriers of love more effectively. Those are a lot of big words in my mouth, Matt.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this.
Simplify it.
So you say that understanding our depth of character will allow us to be more vulnerable and with the people we love, and then more open to make changes that we need to make love last.
Can you handle the feedback that your partner needs to give you so you can be better?
Yeah.
Because if you can't handle it, then he can or she can't give it. And if they can't give it, I guess we never get better. The biggest issues I see with couples is we can't handle the feedback. We can't handle the rejection, the put down. A lot of us are so afraid of what could happen that we never play the game to live in the present. We're always playing the game to never be hurt. And so the character that I'm talking about is, do you have the kind of fortitude,
that's the word
based on your
of.
values, your character, your principles, to actually be present enough to be vulnerable and go deep with your partner?
Okay, so you have 5 questions we have to ask ourselves to know if we...
Do you have it? Do you have the core strength to handle all of this?
Okay, and the first one is, can you name 3 things you have changed or actively working on improving your most important relationships right now?
Yeah, are you actively working on changing things for your marriage? And so I want everyone out there thinking, do you have active things you're trying to improve? And by the way, that's one great thing if you do, but does your partner know that? Or are you keeping those quiet? I don't want her to know I'm trying to change it, because then she might hold me accountable to it. But if we're not working on some goal to improve our relationship, then you're maybe not using your character in your relationship.
So this just takes us sit down and go, hey, hon, just to let you know, I am really working on, okay.
And if everyone just sat down with each other and said, what are some things you're doing this year to improve our relationship, or to improve you in the relationship? It's just a great test of if you're actually focused on it.
Yeah, right now is a great time since the new
Year's,
year.
let's
We all
get
have to
going.
get better. Okay, the next one is, do your conversations refresh the emotional oxygen of those with whom you're talking? I love that phrase, emotional oxygen. How are we doing that? How can we refresh
Stephen
that?
Covey says that to understand another human being is like giving them emotional oxygen. So do you, when you're in a conversation with somebody, is it about you or is it about them? Do you really understand what they're saying? And do people leave talking with you refreshed, oxygenated, alive, able to breathe, able to attack the day better? Or do they feel drained? Do they feel worn down? Do they feel exhausted by what you bring, the negativity or just the heaviness that you bring? Do you bring air and light?
You made me think of the phrase with, like, oh, he was such a breath of fresh air, when you talk to someone.
Isn't that amazing?
Do elevate
and you know who they are. And so what I would bet what they're doing is they're probably really internally focused on you and trying to maybe serve you through the conversation instead of just get what they want out of the conversation.
Yeah, and you think about that a lot, and I know you're a Covey guy, so you know, you listen first, and when we are focusing on that other person, though, it has to be a good back and forth. It can't just all be about the other person.
Right, and it would depend on the goal, right? Like if somebody's got really immense problems, we might spend a lot more time with them. But if we just want a normal chit chat and everything's healthy and we're all good, we want reciprocity. And reciprocity is a really powerful principle. Do you have the character to reciprocate, to give back what your friends are giving to you?
Yeah, okay. Okay, up next is, do you strive to see others in your life with fresh eyes? We're hearing that word fresh a lot.
Yeah.
Being able to see their new growth, their different ideas and small changes, giving people some grace.
Yep.
That's what we're talking about.
That's such a great word. And have you ever been to like Thanksgiving dinner and everyone still sees you as the 12-year-old that wet himself? And you're like, come on, that was 20 years ago or whatever. So do we have the ability to let people grow, to let people develop, to not keep holding them accountable to some mistake they made or something that they didn't live up to at some point? Can you create space to allow, and not even just allow, but do you have the integrity to see the change? And then what I love to do is if I see change, and it's the right time to do it, I try to point it out.
I love that.
I saw you got your hair cut, or I saw that you did this great thing the other day. People like to know that.
I know we're talking about relationships, but I'm thinking couples, but for your children, that is huge. Okay.
Yep.
The next one is, do you remain open-minded and calm in conversations when you're hearing things that run contrary to your beliefs, thoughts, or values? Ooh, this is a hot one.
This is character 101. Okay. Are you reactive, which means you make decisions based on your mood, situation, circumstance, or are you proactive, you make decisions based on your values, your principles, your higher beliefs?
So what is the appropriate way to react? Because I bite my tongue.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting, and it's such a cool thing. So this is where all this mindfulness is getting so popular. To bite your tongue is kind of you're tolerating it, and that's better than blowing up about it. But eventually you'll reach a point where you'll allow whatever it is to be said. It'll be like a leaf that just floats into the river, and the leaf doesn't mean anything. It's just a leaf, and you can just let it go downriver. You don't have to react to it. You don't have to fuse to it. You don't have to take it and make it part of your identity. What a lot of us are really fighting for is our identity. And if you have a different thought, I probably need to squish it and kill it before it might impact me and have me need to change.
Oh, and I do better with that, I think, if it's someone I don't know really well, an acquaintance, like, okay.
Yeah.
But if it's someone I love and care about, and I feel like they have this belief that I just don't agree with, that's hard.
And so what that demands is character. That's what we do with hard things. And then instead of fighting them and pushing them away or ignoring them and running away, what if I just stop and engage it and try to understand it more? And usually when you understand it more, you realize it's not what you think it is. It's not as deep. It's not as ingrown as you think it is. It's just a concept, or they're just trying to mess with you, which is always
Could
fun.
be that. It could be that.
I love it when they do that.
Your last one is, do you have the character to love and serve your partner fully, even when they're falling short in how they love you?
Yeah, that's back to the reciprocal thing. A lot of us think that love is reciprocal. And here's the dilemma. There will be a day where it won't be, because your partner won't be able to serve you, because they'll be in a hospital bed, or they'll be having a mental breakdown, or they will be sick. And so if we always think of love as something that if I give it, I'm going to get it, then that's a level of love. But truly character-based love is to give it because it's right, and to give it because you want to grow your ability to give it, not because you're always going to get something in return. Character, that's charity by definition, is giving it regardless. Now that especially makes sense in your highest relationships, the ones you've made a promise or a covenant or that you birthed. We at some point want to show our people that I'm going to love you no matter what. And then that's what I think the world's craving, is this sense that I'm loved no matter what. They don't agree with everything I do, but I know mom and dad love me.
Yes, exactly. Okay, Matt, you're the best, and you can get more of this. He has a Valentine's date night coming up, and we'll have all of that information on our website. You can see it right there. Thanks so much, Matt.
Thank you.